Catchweight Interview number 18, everybody. Justin Gonzales, 9-0, fights with the SCL. First and foremost, before we even continue, let me apologize. I am so sorry, Justin Gonzales. I fucked up. I typically do this podcast with Jarrett Green, just the alternate podcast. We do like recaps and updates and all that shit, MMA updates. Last week we covered what happened with BJ Penn and what's been going on with BJ Penn. There's no video with that. It's typically just an audio podcast, and I didn't switch the setting over, so this whole Skype call that I was supposed to record and make into a panel after I formatted it, I fucked up, and I'm really sorry, Justin Gonzales. To compensate for that, I still want to stream. That's still an important thing in, I guess, what I want to do, what I want to accomplish. So instead of seeing Justin Gonzales and myself talk in a panel style, you will be seeing highlights of his fights. And he's 9-0. I mean, he's been fighting for a minute. So it wasn't too hard to find highlights. So there's going to just be some B-roll of him posing, looking all types of good. Should have rephrased that. It's okay, though. We're going to move on. So, thank you again for being so patient. Just really the nicest human being that maybe I've ever met. And it's, really strange because he can kill anybody. Justin Gonzales fights June 25th. He fights for the Contender Series. God damn. If you're in New Jersey, there's some horrible storm going on right now. If I don't make it out alive, no one will have noticed. Justin Gonzales fights June 25th of the Contender Series. Next week, we're going to have Alton Cunningham on. He's going to be another person that's going to be on the Contender Series this summer, too. So we're lining up these Contender Series guys. We have a couple more guys in the pipeline. Shouts out to First Round Management. Nico, thank you again for giving me another opportunity literally every other week. I really appreciate it. But man, let's talk up Justin a little bit before we go on. He's just been on a tear. I like the promotion. I haven't really heard about them until recently, until I started following Justin Gonzales. The SCL, I believe they're based out of Colorado, and they just do a very good job at producing good fighters and promoting their fighters. They have an interesting thing that I even want to accomplish on my own if I had the resources to do it, but it's to face off the opponents before the fight, much like the UFC does. I would say even better than what the UFC does. They have an awesome table. They have a moderator, and then they have the two fighters come out and sit down. Very well done, very well produced. Shouts out to the SCL. That is something that I'm going to keep my eye on. Clearly, Justin is a very good product out of there. So I'm very excited to see what happens with Justin's career. He's a featherweight. Big, strong guy. You're going to see a lot of the highlights in him getting people to the ground and mauling them. But his stand-up's pretty good, too. Very, very heavy hands. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So he's basically, to me, that's the UFC. He's fighting the UFC in the Contender Series. It's just a matter of, scoring a contract. So I guess that's the hope that he has, winning this next fight. Full of confidence. His management's full of confidence. I was reading something very interesting today about, what it takes to be a UFC man or just a mixed martial arts manager in general. One of the key components that I read that a lot of mixed martial arts management, even just fighting management, you're not going to get your fighter into a position where you don't think they can win. And to have the promoter and to have the fighter and to have the management all come forward and be like, this guy's going to fucking make it, it's like a big vote of confidence. They believe in their guy. Justin believes in himself. He's going in there with full head of steam, 9-0, and it's going to be a very, very, very interesting turn of events. Just out of the sake of unbiased behavior, if I want to respect, I don't consider myself a journalist, but I do journalist shit. Just in the spirit of the sport, I can't say, I want this person to win or I want that person to win, but I wouldn't be upset if Justin Gonzales just went on a tear and just never lost again. You know what I mean? So, thank you again, Justin. Thank you again, Nico. Let's get right into it. Catchweight update number 18, y'all. Peace, love, and gap.
Trying to think of the right word. Domesticate these birds.
Who's birds are those? They're just there. Are those you bought them or?
Oh, dude, just it's under like my little pergola out here, and the mom just flew off. Like, so I kind of like throw some bread and stuff up there every now and then.
Look at you taking care of the environment. You're such a good guy.
I'm a good man, dude. I try. I try.
From moving couches for your cousins to taking care of the local birds, Justin Gonzales is out here doing everything for the environment.
To be honest, I couldn't do it, dude. It was too big. I couldn't move that thing by myself.
Oh, you guys didn't move? You didn't end up moving it?
Yeah, dude. I didn't have any help, so I was like, I could move this thing by myself.
No one lended a hand.
Oh man, nobody. So it was like me and my dad, but like my dad couldn't lift that thing, dude. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like it has like a pull-out bed and stuff in it, so trying to expect him to.
Oh shit.
This lady's house out around her backyard and into the trailer and stuff. It wasn't gonna happen.
What'd you do? Would you just burn it?
I just told the lady, I was like, "Hey man, I can't get it back," but that's all.
Sorry, fella.
Like, sorry, cuz I tried, man, but you got to get some of these other guys over here to help me.
What are you doing anything for your Memorial Day weekend?
I got some graduations.
Oh, okay.
So here I'll probably just wrap up the stuff I was doing in the house, and then I think just chill, man. Graduation parties. I might go golfing tomorrow. Actually, I went this morning to hit some sprints.
Oh shit.
I tried to get some little work in, man. Nothing too much, It's the weekend. We had a long week of training, so it's kind of like now it's time to rest and just enjoy life. So, awesome. You know how.
I don't, because you are a murderer. We got two different lifestyles.
So how do you know Nico? How do you?
I know Nico kind of through proxy through Willis Black. I don't know if you know who Willis Black is.
I know from Michigan. He's gangster. That dude's.
I love that dude.
Bro, that dude's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, Willis is a great guy. He's like he looks like the fucking Terminator, like from the outside, but like when you talk to him, he's just just a down to earth, like regular ass guy. That's the other guy I was talking about. We got like 30 minutes of like hard conspiracy talk for like no reason.
Dude, I've seen that guy knock some dudes just like almost. I was like, wow.
One of my favorite finishes by him that he did. He got submission of the year. It didn't look like his, and if you go back and you watch it, it just didn't look like he submitted him at all. He's off his back. He's got like this guy angled on. He's on top of him. Looks like he's like in a losing position, and with one arm, like he's so freakishly strong. With one arm, he submits the guy with like some sort of weird neck crank from the bottom. I've never seen it before in my entire life. He's like, oh, I work that sometimes in training. Say again.
Guy's on top of him, and he has over his neck and just turns it down.
Just cranks him. Just cranks him out.
Wow, that's some power.
I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Dude, that's crazy.
But speaking of fighting, right? All right, so we'll do that. We'll jump right into it. Catchweight interview number 18 with Justin Gonzales, the J Train. I like it.
2-2, baby, 2-2.
Embracing it. I love it. So you're 9-0 right now. I do the same thing that I do with everybody. I go over like a little bit. Like there's no holds bar. You can talk about whatever you want, whatever you're interested in, explore whatever. But I fight. Obviously, like the main attraction is you're a fighter and you have a lifestyle. Like you manage your lifestyle around fighting. Yeah. So where did you start? Like I see that I've watched pretty much all your fights except for maybe some of your amateur fights. Except for one, I did watch one of your amateur fights. But you have a wrestling base?
Yeah. Shoot, man, heavy wrestling background, but don't get it twisted. Like we boxed and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So kind of had a little bit of both. Some of my coaches, like their background is mostly like boxing, karate, so different types of striking. And then one of my main coaches, Mike Alirez, he was one of my first wrestling coaches. Funny story, because not to get off topic, but it's kind of like what got me started in MMA. They had a gym. Mm-hmm. I went something a little bit different from just wrestling. At the time, I was wrestling college at University of Northern Colorado, and I just like during the summer, so we started training, mixing it up, doing some different stuff, and then by the end of the summer, man, we trained for maybe a couple months at this point.
Uh-huh.
And that was me and my buddies, like, dude, you guys are pretty good. Like, you guys should think about getting a fight. There's a fight coming up in like a month. I was like, I'll do it if you do it.
Yeah.
Cool, let's do this. And we beat the shit out of those guys. It's not fun because I was the best man in his wedding, and so we kind of it's always a challenge between us. He got the first round finish, I got the second round finish.
Oh shit!
I have to live with that the rest of my life,
Yeah, I mean, I think you're doing all right. You're only 9-0. So that's awesome. I mean, like that's a typical story I see a lot. Even with Willis, him getting into wrestling, it was a buddy. Willis didn't do any sports. Like he did no sports up until high school. Yeah. Until high school, and then his buddy was just like, "Hey, you want to do wrestling? Because you'd be good at it." And he's like, "All right." And then I guess it starts from there. But his good buddy got him into it, and it seems like that's a common theme within, I guess, the world of mixed martial arts. Get someone getting brought into it at a younger age, or just by a friend who like observes their athleticism. And now we're even seeing that more with today's sport. There's so many people going from football to or baseball or anything, and then moving into these sports like fighting, and it's fantastic.
No, you're right. It's interesting, man, because like you start thinking about it, and I want to say most of the MMA population would be of people who are like have some sort of background, like wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, some sort of martial arts. It could be anything. Right. But I think it's just cool to see the differences of like, for example, Stipe Miocic. Name drop, whatever. He was a baseball player,
That's crazy as shit. I did not know that.
It just blows my mind, Then you find some of these guys who never fought a day in their life, not on the streets, never wrestled, never did jiu-jitsu, nothing. And they're like, you know what? I want to come and try this out. Yeah. And they be pretty freaking good,
Yeah, there's a lot of like Oven St. Preux, like he played football his whole life, and then he makes it to a Division I level, and he plays at I think Tennessee, and then he's just knocking dudes dead cold in the UFC within like 2 or 3 years after it. Yeah,
I think he's still ranked top 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be different. That's like one of the most. As long as John Jones is alive and in that division, it's like that's gonna be the most difficult division to fight in, or one of the most difficult divisions to fight in. So obviously the guy, everyone that he's fighting is athletic as he is at that point. So when you start getting towards like the top 15, top 10 guys, so he's. I don't want everyone to say like he doesn't. I feel like he's got the ability to knock anybody out. So
with that,
yeah,
everybody's got a puncher's chance,
Yeah. I mean, with him, that's like his like bread and butter. It's like knocking people the fuck out. Through like these weird unorthodox styles, but I guess like he just kind of gets peered a bit by the guys who are just like who have a better knowledge base, and I guess that's going to be like the separation.
I agree. A little bit more experience, a little bit more. I don't know if I want to call it like pure athleticism. But a little bit more than what he had.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I think that's what makes
Yeah, that it's it's like it's like the reason why it's like football's always gonna be my first love. Because I played it and I understand it, and like I'm like a recent fan of MMA. Like my first fight that I ever saw was Anderson Son in 2. That was the first fight I ever saw before. So like I don't have like the back knowledge in it, so I can't be like, oh, I'm like a day one fan. Like I've been watching it since like like early Brock Lesnar days, and even before that, and all that shit. I can't say that, but one of the reasons why it's like becoming my number one. You can pretty much watch any like well produced promotion and see like high caliber fighters at this point. Like the NFL is like that's it. Like there's no one else. College football is great too, but it's like you see like schools who like no like Monmouth will play like Alabama and get washed out. Like you know what I mean? Like
something like that. And you're just like, come on, like. Funny, it's crazy, man. It's college sports.
Yeah,
I love watching college football. Actually, today I was waiting for my haircut, and there was a pretty good game of lacrosse. Never played lacrosse besides like some PE classes, but just like I love college sports, man. I think I kind of like it better than pro, to be honest.
They really put it on the line. Like when their version of whatever playoffs and whatever sports are on there, they like really get like because like that's their shot to get in to the NFL and to get into whatever pro level thing. So,
and some of them, that's where it ends. That's as it goes. You know.
How do you feel about like obviously like the general consensus among athletes is like just fucking pay the college kids. like just pay them. But how do you feel about that?
It's hard, man. Like being a former college athlete, man. It's like you got a lot to take in there.
Yeah.
Granted, there's scholarships. which even a full ride athlete who doesn't really have to pay for anything, but I mean, full ride can mean a lot of different things. A full ride can mean full schooling, full books,
Right.
and your meal stuff.
Yeah.
Then you still got to live. You still got to have a house.
Right.
And like, of course, you got to go pay other bills and stuff. You know, it's
Right.
like, so in my eyes, I think maybe if they raised it a little bit to where it was like they can live off of it.
Yeah.
But then it kind of changes the amateurism.
Yeah. But it's like at what because I just feel like at the Division I level, a lot of those guys are pro ready. Like they're plug and plays.
Look, you see those basketball guys, like they used to not even have to go to college.
Right. LeBron.
Now they made it a rule that you have to go to college for 1 year.
Which I kind of agree with that. I kind of do agree with that. I feel like you should develop a little bit under some sort of pro system.
I think it makes them mature a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to get off topic.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's more of an NCAA thing. I think it's about the money, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, not bash them or anything, but like,
Yeah.
these guys, it'd probably take a lot of money away from the NCAA.
But like, how much more? Because like they're multi-billion-dollar organizations, so it's like, yeah.
They definitely have it.
Yeah.
It's
hard because it's like you're right. You're 100% right. Right. Like that level of amateurism is removed from it, so like you kind of lose like the thrill of like March Madness a little bit. Where if money's on the line, people are like, I guess I'm getting paid at the end of this anyway, so it'll make a difference if I make it or not. So.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Incentives start coming into play. Like if you 30 points and get a triple double, I'll give you a 50 bonus or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think they should. But
I think they should too.
Compare a college athlete to just a normal college student.
Yeah.
The college athlete doesn't have the time to go work.
No.
I mean, if they do, it's barely any hours, like.
But on the same token, like they're working for the college, like you know what I mean, like
they are. They're making the college a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
It's a slippery slope. There's no right answer.
There's no right answer.
We don't have the answers.
If I was in charge, I think they should raise the scholarship a little bit,
or at least set up like some sort of trust. You know what I mean? Because like there's so many like stories out there, and it's like the classic story, like I blew my knee out and now I'm like a substitute teacher somewhere, like
can't go pro, so
yeah.
And that's kind of what they were riding on. Maybe they should
maybe have some,
but it just, I don't know, man. It's such a world. There's a lot of things that can happen.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a tough one.
Fuck.
Title IX and stuff kind of makes college a whole other thing.
I'm bumming out Justin today. I'm sorry, Justin. I didn't mean to bum you out.
It's a topic that gets brought up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think somebody should address it and get it situated.
I think so too. And I think because people generally don't talk about it, the colleges just kind of do whatever they want as a result.
Because the power's in their hands, Really, the choice is come play for us under our rules or don't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of my way or the highway, right? But that's like in the same breath. That's like how it goes with companies. In the UFC, it's the same way. It's like, hey, be on board with the company, man. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, be on board with the or Bellator or name any of the major corporations. And it's like, well, I can't even say them because they pay their fighters. Like, they pay their fighters. So,
dang, it's somebody probably more educated should have in that.
100%. 100%. All right, so let's get back into your awesome career. Okay. One of the things that I know, I'll talk about like the first thing. So, how did you come across Fighter Source? I've never heard of it before, but it seemed like a high production amateur fight. Like I was on CBS.
I can't remember what the television was for it, but it's just Colorado. I was kind of working my way up, man, just like everybody else, know. I believe at the time we were already thinking about going pro. So it was on the cusp of like, hey, man, we're like 5-0, 6-0 at the time.
Right.
We were against another tough opponent who was like knocking people out. So this was like kind of our test.
Right.
And it was
a great fight.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was, I think if you guys want to watch it, it was myself, Justin Gonzales versus Alejandro Ibarra. It's on YouTube. I've seen it. So after I won that, the Colorado coach, owner, I don't know how it works, he just kind of was hitting me up for a little while and kind of gave me the opportunity. He said, hey, man, I know you're already thinking about going pro, but I think this would be another test for you to go travel, focus on like cutting weight while being out of the state and just having to manage different things before going pro, fighting some of these better fighters from out of the state as well, So talking with my coach, we just thought it was a good move, You can't go back to amateur once you're pro,
Right.
So, let's trust this and build from it and keep, 2 more, 3 more fights. I think there's 4 if you keep winning. I believe it goes 3 fights in the U.S. through the tournament, and then if you win, you fight somebody from Brazil. Which
which is what you did. That's what they were talking about. I don't know if it was your most recent fight or maybe a couple fights ago, but they said they flew a guy in from Brazil to fight you for a belt.
I ended up. Long story how it kind of worked out that way. Didn't think about it, but my first fight for Fighter Source was a bye. Sucks. But California didn't get a fight. Bummer. Went out to New York, beat this guy TKO. Went out to California again, and then I won the tournament. The U.S. side. Then so the tournament was done. Everybody who won the tournament was supposed to go to Brazil to fight their champ, and something happened. It was just a really bad time in Brazil. I believe after like they were rioting, there was like dead bodies. Shore. There was like they were rioting against the government. I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Listen, that's why I stay my ass in New Jersey. There ain't no riots out here.
It was just issue after issue,
yeah.
and everyone was ready to go pro, and they just couldn't figure it out.
Were you in Brazil while these riots were kicking off?
Oh no! This was like the prep for it, because
Gotcha.
I guess they had like their opponents kind of figured out for us,
right?
And the ball was rolling, but it was just getting those final steps, and they eventually just kind of canceled it. Which, I mean, realistically, it's probably for our safety and just not the best time to go to Brazil.
Yeah, I don't want you to get caught in the middle of a falling government. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I've never been to Brazil, and I don't know enough about the country to say. But, like, I've heard they live a little bit different than we do in the U.S. So
well, I know during the Olympics, they have like issues with gang violence in the favelas, and they kind of like it's kind of fucked up. Like they kind of like flushed them out. Like they kind of like went on these crazy raids, like clean, because the Olympics was like right next to the favelas. Like
I think they were kind of prepping for the Olympics as well.
Right.
I'm wrong. I may be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was around that same time.
Right. Which makes sense. I mean, what was that, like almost 3 years ago now? 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, ish. Something like that.
Yeah. So I know they were like I saw videos, like it was just like it was like militarized police just going door to door, just like clearing people out. I'm like, Jesus, it's so horrible. Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to even think about, man. Like
we're down the street from the Olympics.
They're gonna transport all these athletes from across the world and get them so they're all safe, and
and even then, people were getting robbed outside of the Coliseum, and tourists and shit were getting caught up and stuff. It's crazy as hell out there, man.
Man, who was it? Was it probably not the best thing to bring up, but I think that swimmer.
Yep.
Story and stuff. And
yep.
Allegedly made up the story, but I think they had a video that said he was fine the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, come on, man. Like, what are you doing?
Homeboy used third world country as an excuse to not show up for work.
Like, what are you thinking, man? But hey, man,
he wasn't too old. I don't think. People make mistakes. It's not like he killed anybody. Should he have done that?
I agree. There's a lot worse that could have happened.
Yeah,
it's like,
but still,
dude, you're a gold medalist, man. You're on top of the world right now.
Yeah,
and you're shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
he fucked up. It's okay though. He fucked up in a way that was funny. So like it ended up kind of sliding with it.
I wish the guy the best, man. I'm sure he's still swimming, kicking ass.
Getting after it.
People forget, you know.
I saw Michael Phelps out on one championship, not fighting, but he was like standing there with like someone won a belt, and he just was there, shook a hand, and then was out.
He was there.
He was like he was in the ring, like how 50 Cent does like the Bellator shit now, where he like has like a bottle of his alcohol, and then he gives them the $1 million, whatever it is. Phelps was out there being American and shit.
Dude, that's a kind of a cool deal. Get some different. Michael Phelps, that guy's, how many medals does he have? Like 18?
He's one of the most accomplished Olympians that we've ever had in history, I think.
Ever, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, for that guy, that's pretty cool.
What if he fought? He's huge. What is he, like 6'4"? 6'5"?
He's a beast. I heard he's actually really big.
Yeah.
And I mean,
massive human being.
So I got a lot of respect for swimmers, man. That shit's hard.
It's one of the hardest. Well, it's probably one of the best things you can do for your body, swimming.
Yeah, it's rest, gives you. I mean, I do it mostly for the cardio, but work your muscles without straining them too much, man. And getting kicked, getting punched, and stuff.
You are a true mixed martial artist, and then one of the things that I love about your style. Obviously that you have that background in wrestling, and it is very evident when you're fighting. But you have a very, very calm demeanor when you're using your wrestling. I know you don't really, you're not turbo aggressive where you're leaning on your wrestling to get yourself out of situations. I see that you use your technique when you're in duress to get out of situations where people are trying to grapple with you, and then put yourself on top of them or create that distance or whatever the case may be. It's really you're an exciting fighter to watch because you have all of these skill sets that you can bring to the table when different issues arrive in front of you when you're fighting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're right, man. It's something that we've worked on. It's funny because we were talking about some of my amateur fights earlier,
right.
And I watched some. And if you watch some like my first couple fights, you're like, this guy's just wrestling. That is it, man. Not super good, but like, we were working on it,
Right.
My wrestling was that was my bread and butter there, man. It was, and now it's changed, but it's funny. We've been working on it, man. It's like using my hands to set up my wrestling, using my wrestling to set up my hands and my strikes, and just, I'm very comfortable in a lot of situations where a lot of other people aren't. It's kind of something that I think helps me is just staying calm, realizing when certain positions are there, and just, I think just the countless reps of doing these things over and over again and trusting my body and just trusting my coaches, man. It's, I know you probably heard that 1,000 times, but like this last fight, man, we knew this guy was a jiu-jitsu guy, and against him, honestly, was to stand. But we knew realistically at some point with me being a wrestler and him being a jiu-jitsu guy, the fight was going to go to the ground at some point.
Right.
So with him actually trying to throw that headlock on me, I kind of just shrugged underneath it. It was like even better for me. And then he was trying to attack those ankles, which is a dangerous game to play.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he did it, and it kind of ended up biting him in the ass, but again, man, it's just part of the sport. It's what makes the sport so interesting is that, like, sometimes your greatest strengths against a certain opponent could be your biggest weakness.
Yeah.
I just kind of ended up trapping him with those legs, smothering him, and he was caught up against the cage, and he was in a spot for me just to put a lot of damage. So.
And I think that's where part of your calmness comes from, is because you're also like a student of the sport. So like it sounds like you took a lot of time and you studied what he did, and you were familiar with what he was going to bring to the table. So you weren't going to be necessarily put inside of a panic mode, because this is something you came prepared for. Like you that's great. And leading up to, I guess, ultimately, like the big thing. In your career so far that's going to be coming up is you going on to Dana White's Contender series in July. You have all of these life events, whether it be traveling all over the country, which your management and your team thought was going to be ultimately the best for you because it's going to kind of condition you and get you ready for that professional lifestyle. Where you have that, and then like the culmination of like awesome training and you're stringing up all these wins. They're all setting you up for like this place where you can put yourself in a position where you will be able to make that jump, and you're making that jump. You're making that jump into the base. That's the UFC. The Contender Series is the UFC as far as anyone's concerned.
It's there's a lot of mixed emotions about it. Like at first I was kind of Dana, Sean Shelby, dude, what took you so long?
Right.
Part of the process is making me who I am, man. I mean, what if I would have fought some of these guys who I've recently beat,
right,
maybe a couple years ago, who knows if it would have been the same outcome.
Right.
Maybe it took me this long to become this fighter and learning to just use all my tools and put it together. It's something that we've talked about, and like, sure, man, it would have been cool to go sooner.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with my life, man. I'm happy. I'm healthy.
Right.
I'm the opportunity of a lifetime, man. And I mean, sitting here in my house, fucking talking to you, a lot worse,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's crazy, It's just it's.
Did you ever picture yourself in this position? Like, when you kicked this all off, would you have been like, did you see this light at the end of the tunnel?
Not exactly. It's funny, man. It's funny because going back to my first fight,
yeah,
I never had intentions of going pro with fighting. I never had intentions of being this big Ultimate Fighter, MMA, UFC star.
Right.
But
you have the potential to. Everyone has the potential to when they step into this field.
I I want to just do one and just to tell my kids that I did it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I just I never had intentions of any of this, but you know, we stuck with it, and now it's here, man. It's just crazy. It's just like kind of slowly throughout the process of the years of training and putting it together and starting to realize that, like, man, we could really do something with this. This could change my life, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and something that I told him is like, hey, man, God gives us a lot of signs.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just got to know how to listen.
Right.
Some people don't. You know, some people just think it's whatever. But, like, sometimes you just got to understand, man, there's signs.
Yeah.
Sometimes just listen, and here I am, you know.
Here you are.
Process.
Living that dream out.
June 25th, Vegas. Hopefully knock this dude out, get a contract, and
so I didn't look too deeply into the matchup. Who's the gentleman you're fighting?
My opponent's name is Zach Zane. He's from Hawaii. I'm not too sure of his record. I just know it has quite a few blemishes on it, but been on a tear. I think he's won his last like 8 or 9 fights or something. He's
got to be good, right? Like to get in here.
You know, so
yeah,
he's got to be somewhat decent.
Right.
I've watched him.
Right.
He jumps back and forth. He's mostly southpaw, which is fun. It's so it's fun for me, you know.
You're pretty big for a featherweight, I guess, right? Like at like 5'9".
Yeah, about 5'9".
5'9".
Close to 5'10", but a little bit shorter.
Right. So you're pretty big for a featherweight. Is it a weight you feel comfortable with? Have you had any fights at lightweight?
All of my amateurs were at 55s.
55.
My amateurs were at lightweight, and then whenever we went pro, we did catchweight at 50, and the rest, except for one, were at 45s. I think one of my opponents couldn't make the weight. I really needed the fight, you know, so otherwise it was going to be a really long layoff for a while,
right,
which stay somewhat frequent.
Right.
So we had to take it at 50, you know.
And this is for, and you're talking about your pro fights with the SLC.
SCL.
SCL, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're good.
So I saw one of them. It said Army versus Marines 10. Is this
last fight? Yeah.
That was your last fight. So what's the deal with this promotion?
So Sparta Combat League has been around. I think I've done all my pro fights with them.
Right.
I've almost all my amateurs with them, except for the Fighter Source fights. And you know, they're getting bigger. It's cool to say, and I've talked to the promoter about it and everything, is that like I've been a big part of helping to build them as much as they helped build me.
I mean, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's one of those things where now I don't want to say we're outgrowing them, because by any means, I just don't want to say that, you know.
Right.
We're on to bigger things.
Right.
And I think it ultimately helps them as well to be able to say that they produced fighters out of their organization and sent them to the biggest fighting promotions.
Right. I mean, like, ultimately they should be proud because they're doing something right. Where people are coming into your sport and maybe finding their way and maybe developing. It's starting to seem like a lot of these leagues that are under the UFC, the I'm sorry, what was it?
SCL.
SCL, I'm fucking it up. I'm so sorry. SCL. SCL, the WXC, the CFFC. I can't say Invicta. I feel like Invicta's been developed for a while. But all of these organizations are now starting to produce caliber of fighters just like you, like on a regular basis. So that's the goal. Like, that's what's going to make their product better. That's what's going to get the next prospect that's going to be in your area that wants to fight. Like, where should I go? Should I sign a contract with them? Well, I know guys like Justin are going to get shot to the Dana White Contender Series if you do well enough. You're getting eyes. They're getting eyes on the sport.
Oh yeah, I think it's kind of cool to be like, hey man, I'll be the, what do you want to say? Like, I'll be the guy who started the revolution. You know. Right. The revolution, maybe not the right word, but I started the movement.
Yeah.
Bigger, and because there's some studs in that promotion, man. Yeah. I'm sure there's all over the place. Some of my teammates are fighting for them right now, and man, it's funny because they're pretty much in the same footsteps as me, man. They're walking right behind me. I remember whenever I was 2-0, 3-0, beating guys who people really didn't give me chance of the day. You know, they not to win this fight, but we're gonna match you up anyways because it's gonna be a big promotion, big publicity and stuff. And hey, look at me now.
Yeah. So I guess the publicity and I don't know if you've done anything as far as media goes for the Dana White Contender Series, like where it's like pressers and all that shit yet. Is that something that you find distracting? How does that affect your everyday life?
It's it's not my favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep my head focused and just enjoy my life. I like to, if it's time to get serious, man, I just ask people not to bug me. You know, right. I'm like, I'm getting ready for war here, and, right. You know, and people understand. They kind of respect it. They understand that, like, hey, man, I'm about to go fight a trained killer.
Yeah, you're about to be locked inside of a cage with somebody who wants to fight you.
He's good at fighting people.
Yeah.
Don't take it the wrong way, but like, I'm trying to be ready for this, right. You know?
Yeah. So, do people give you shit for like, hey, I gotta focus?
Nah. They get it for the most part. There's some people who just, they are, let's just say they're not like super into MMA where they don't
they just don't understand.
They just don't understand. So it's like, I try to explain, and I'm pretty easygoing, man. Yeah. I get it, so I explain to them, and I kind of tell them, like, and then they start getting it a little bit more. Right. But most part, like, one of my roommates is here. I don't know where the other guys are, but like, we're gonna grill later.
Yeah.
After graduation parties, we're just gonna. They know they're gonna cook me some chicken, and they're gonna have whatever the hell they're having.
Yeah.
But
that's gotta be terrible on Memorial Day weekend.
It's fun. It's eye on the prize, you know. Make sacrifices, and the reward will be better.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, you know, like, it's funny to be like, oh, you know, I want to have cake and all that shit, but at the end of the day, like, you know what you have to do to be successful. You can't be one of those guys that's gonna do what he wants and then try to cram it at the end of the week, 2 weeks in, and then just miss weight or be undisciplined or make weight and just be sucked down or whatever the case may be. So.
And, you know, for something like this, like, arguably the biggest fight of my career, I mean, like, really, either the fight that you're in or the next one coming up always is.
Right.
You want to be ready, man, so you can't procrastinate. You can't be doing stuff like that. And luckily for me, I never really was, whether it was school, work, fighting. I've never really been that guy.
What did you go to school for?
So I ended up graduating from Colorado State University, Pueblo, and I got my degree in exercise science and health promotion. So that was like my major, and then I emphasized in teaching. So, I mean, I got some varieties, man. If fighting doesn't work out, I could be a teacher. I could be a personal trainer. I'm pretty close. I'm actually like maybe like 10 credits shy from my science degree.
Okay.
It just kind of happened that they were so similar.
Yeah.
Some of those classes are pretty tough, so I'd probably do it really slow and take like a hard class, and that's all I'd focus on if I did want to go that route.
Right.
I'm not sure. Not to get off topic, but that was my degree, and it's nice to have options. So
I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, you gotta, as much as this is you want this to be your future. It looks like you're doing mixed martial arts of life right now. You know, just getting well rounded in a bunch of areas.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like nobody knows. Like, I mean, I could get in a car accident, God forbid.
Yeah.
And MMA career could be over.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just like that, man.
Just like that. But, you know, also, and nothing could happen. I hope nothing happens to anybody. But, like, not for nothing, but it's like, you know, broadening your horizons doesn't hurt anybody. Like, being generally intelligent about just anything, like, you know, going, because you have to take general eds, you know, you have to do all that other stuff in college, so I mean, like, I can only imagine it helps you become a better fighter, you know, keeping an open mind, understanding your body better. You know, you're in sports and exercise science, so it's like,
going to say is I think it did, you know. Yeah. I think it really like I've always been into the human body. I've always been an athlete, so to learn and understand these things of why things work better,
right.
why like this, like the biomechanics and stuff, why it would work better,
right.
And sometimes you can't do something just because it's going to cause injury and stuff. It's honestly, I think it helps my fighting a lot, man. It just the understanding of the human body and how it works.
I feel like it shaped the sport too, with the advances in medical science and just basic knowledge. I just feel like it's contributed to the level of athlete that we're getting now, just in sports. But it's also like help, like fighters that have been taking that approach where they're taking care of their body and they're understanding their body seem to be doing very well with their career.
Yeah.
You know, minus like Roy Nelson, who just didn't give a fuck. Like he just just eating cheeseburgers and chugging beers before fights.
That guy, if he could live the good life like that, hey man, more power to you, bro. Like,
do it.
And he was living the good life. I don't know. I haven't seen him fight in a long time. I don't know if he still is.
I think he fights in Bellator. He fought in the heavyweight Grand Prix, and I think he lost. I don't remember to who. It might have been like Matt Mitrione or something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it was like I don't think he was happy with the way it ended, and I don't know if he's fighting anymore as a result. Because I literally have not seen or heard of him since then.
Yeah, he. I mean, it's funny. I mean, just with any fighter, like he has kids, he has other stuff, or he wants to take care of his family and hang out with his kids and stuff. So it's just time, you know. I mean, I'm not saying it's his time.
Yeah, I mean, like he's been in the sport for so long, and he was able to be successful for so long, and he's been able to build a brand of being like the big badass dude. Like he's just, like, you know what I mean? Like you know, as goofy as the gut looks and the beard looks, like he's a murderer. Like he's a fucking killer.
He used that and turned it into a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, he ran with it and made it work.
Yeah.
So for him,
true American spirit.
I think I might be wrong, but I think I remember seeing him fight for a while before his UFC days, and he's actually like at like 205s or something. He was actually kind of fit, you know.
Yeah.
He went to heavy. I might be wrong. It might have been
it's possible because he is clearly an athlete. Like he's still super strong. Like, you know, he carries the weight well. It's just fucked up when you see him like rubbing his belly over to people that he's knocked unconscious. Like,
I saw him out in. I was out in Vegas. I can't remember. I think I was trying out for the Ultimate Fighter. I can't remember, and I was training at Extreme Couture. But that guy is a big human being.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say like 6'5", and I don't think I could reach my arms around him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's girthy.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, not just because he's fat, but like his chest, that's a thick man.
Yeah, like he's a fucking refrigerator. Like on top of him just being like looking big, like it's proportional. Like he's got huge shoulders, giant hands. He's a big guy.
Huge.
So you said you tried out for I didn't know that's how that works. I thought they just pick people out like the Contender Series. You have to try out for the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have tryouts for it all the time. I'm not sure. But from my experience, it was the undefeated season, so I think it was like 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have at least 3 wins. I think at the time I had 6.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be I think you had to be 21 to like 30 or something, and then there was some other requirement.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we went out. And they had us do a bunch of crazy stuff, like you had to grapple, then you had to hit mitts, and then you did this interview. And if you made it through all those, like each section, they kind of choose you, and they let you stay out in Vegas for the week. For a bunch of CAT scan, drug tests, a bunch of eye tests. And it was cool. It was an experience because, like, I mean, at that point, I was still like, man, this is kind of a cool little deal here, you know. I didn't meet all these other guys, and just so happened one of my good friends, Patrick Nix, was out there as well. I think he just Bellator, so I think he's got a fight coming up here in like the next couple weeks. So we were kind of hanging out and made a lot of friends out there, man. Me and some of those guys still talk.
Yeah.
Facebook, check out how they're fighting. They keep in touch with me, telling me congrats on my wins and stuff. So it's interesting, but ultimately, like I said, like there's a path, and sometimes there's signs. You just got to learn how to listen. And I think the Contender Series is more my thing.
Yeah. Well, but like, you know, who's to say that like you didn't put by taking that risk, like putting yourself on their radar, like didn't also contribute to you getting to where you're at. You know.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I think it works out better this way. This is more my style. Like, you know, I don't bit of other people.
No cameras in front of in your face and shit.
Fake, you know, like you don't have to try to impress people or be this guy to get bigger. But I mean, like, I want to fight.
It's just such a huge distraction. As much as I do enjoy, like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's pretty much. It's just I think the Contender Series is more my style. I fight.
And I think the trend is going that way too, with like the way people are watching things now. You know, the Ultimate Fighter hasn't done as well as it did like earlier as far as like ratings goes, and people are like tuning into the Contender Series now. Like there's a reasonable amount of people, obviously, but they're putting it, you know, mostly for free on YouTube for people to watch, and it just seems to be like, you know, even guys that are like kind of assholes like Greg Hardy, like, you know what I mean, like he's getting co-main events as a result.
I mean, what is he? He has like 4 or 5 wins, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's beating the guy's asses. So there's nothing we can do about it.
Wow, that last one, not this last one, the second one, I watched just because it's like, you know, I just want to see how he does.
Yeah.
After knocking people out in the Contender Series and just knocking people out cold.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch him. You know, sure, some stuff happened in his past.
Yeah.
People make mistakes.
And then like, you know, like the big thing about him is like, okay, well, he's got like these questions about his character, and then he comes and he throws that illegal knee at somebody and knocks that dude out, but then he comes back. So like they keep giving him shots. He's not doing anything illegal anymore. Everyone, I feel like everyone deserves to have the right to a second chance, and that this is his way to get a second chance. Because,
well, like what, like him or
yeah,
still watching,
right?
You know,
listen. As much as like I don't agree with what he did, you're right. So like one of the appeals for me is just like what happens when you get a freak athlete with no background in fighting and throw him out there with some training to see what happens. And so far, it's like, well, this is like the crazy experiment that I want, that is being successful, that I want to see. You know, I wish it was somebody like, you know, Ray Lewis or well, probably not Ray Lewis because he kind of murdered somebody. Somebody who's different. I don't know.
Ray Rice, maybe.
Ray Rice.
Similar story as Greg Hardy, but I mean, you know, it'd be cool.
Way worse. I think that's way. Have Ray Rice on there. That's you know, it's got a mean right hand, though. I will say that.
He did do. I saw that video, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible. Like when the rumblings were out, I was like, all right, let's see. Like, you know, is this some bullshit story? I was like, no, he definitely did that. He probably should be in jail. Like he should probably be in jail right now for what he did.
Well, and then like the video came out, and it was like, "There's nothing you can do about that, bro."
And I live near Rutgers. That's where he played football. And they took his whole shit down. Like he was one of the like, you know, when the college's leading rushers. Like they took his stats down. They took his pictures down.
It's crazy, man. You see some of these guys, and it's like, and this goes with any sport.
Yeah.
They start getting to that level where they almost feel like they're invincible. Yeah. And it's like, sure, you should feel invincible in your area of expertise, like for us, for them, football. But like, man, that doesn't carry out into life, man. Like you can't just go around beating women and
you know, I don't ever want to defend anything like that, but like with all the recent things coming out within the last 10 years about like concussions and all that shit, I have to imagine his behavior has been affected by his football play.
What is it?
CTE.
CTE, that's it. Yeah. It's man, like you're starting to hear about a lot of these fighters now.
Yeah.
With beating their wives or like getting restraining orders and stuff like that, man.
BJ Penn is one of those guys.
I think it was. I don't want to name drop a bunch of guys on that.
So. I'm sorry. I forget this is your world. This is your world.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's I can't help but think because like they've never had this issue whenever they were younger.
Yeah.
Are still kind of fighting, you know.
Yeah.
But now later into their careers, you start hearing about it.
Yeah.
With fighters, anyways, and then you hear about some of these football players, and it's just throughout different times in their career.
Yeah.
Something crazy, and I don't think they can test on it until you're dead, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as current science goes now, they need to observe your brain like out of your head in order for you to see what kind of like just based off of the studies they have, like they know if you play like pretty much any level of football, you will have brain damage. They've already considered. Say again.
Some sort, one way or another.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, they I guess the big thing, like the big misconception with CTE is that it affects everybody the same way. People obviously, like the reason why it's not so widespread is because everyone reacts to brain trauma differently. So the brain trauma, I guess for certain athletes, it's like extreme. They might already have underlying genetic issues or underlying like behavioral issues that are not exacerbated because they don't have the damage in their brain yet. And then as time goes on, it starts to deteriorate, and you get guys like Junior Seau and guys like Aaron Hernandez start in random parts of their career, random parts of their lives, where it's triggered differently. But then you have people like I don't know. Fucking who's the announcer? Troy Aikman, you know what I mean? Like he's been hit a bunch of times, but he's doing commentary on every other Sunday. You know what I mean? Like he's fine.
Wonder if it's like something. It's got to be from my understanding of the human brain and stuff that like it reaches a peak of where it's just your body can't take it anymore,
yeah.
And that pushes you over the edge, and then maybe it's just a time bomb until it happens.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a brain expert, but
me neither.
No, it's like it doesn't take much to jack up your brain.
Yeah, but, yeah, you can fuck up your brain jet skiing.
Yeah, I'm coming like hey man, I love to fight. Whatever. Probably not the best to be saying this, but
Well, fighting seems to be the safer of the sports because, as far as like the combat or collision sports, because. Football, it's pretty much guaranteed, depending on what position you're pretty much guaranteed you're slamming your head against something that's equally at 250 pounds at a pro level at least. At least 30 or 40 times a game, like as full tilt as you possibly can. Whereas like in fighting, you can get submitted. You can be untouched. Some people like don't train as crazy as like Conor McGregor's like breaking his hand in practice and shit. Like some people just don't train like that at all.
I mean, dang, it's like different things. There's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I would think it kind of brings up a question like. I've seen some studies, people were doing it on TV, like what's safer, boxing versus MMA.
Right.
A lot of people argue boxing because of the big gloves, but like, man, at least people get knocked out like right away with those 4-ounce gloves. Where boxing, they can take those repetitive hits, about 16-ounce gloves, and then their brain's just getting sloshed around in their head,
And it's the preparation too. Like you don't have to get hit with the overhand right every round to have brain damage. It's sometimes it's 1,000 tiny jabs. Like over and over and over and over and over again, and then in practice over and over and over and over again, and I guess that element doesn't really exist as much in MMA because people. I mean, obviously, like people. There's plenty of people who work boxing in MMA, but from what I've seen as the major difference between the two, and like the sparring is just like way different. so,
it's and it's like part of your partners. I would hope your partners are taking care of you.
Yeah.
It's smart. Like, hey man, we're coming to get it, so don't steal my time, don't steal my rounds from me, but. At the same time, man, if I rock you, I'm not going to come and try to knock your head off your body like it's a real fight, man. I'll let you kind of recover while still making you work,
Unless it's like some stranger off the street. Do you ever find that issue in your gyms, like where some stranger off the street like will challenge you?
People come in, but we kind of have some rules that like you at both my gyms, it's really similar. It's if we get a lot of people who come in off the street, and obviously it's like, hey man, come train. You want to train? It's for everybody. Yeah. But like our elite classes, it's like you have to like kind of earn your spot to go in there, man. You have to be consistent. You have to be showing improvement and that you care about this, and you're not just going to come in here and try to hurt somebody with bad intentions and their career,
right?
You know. And like the same thing at the other spot, like where people can come in and train and they can play, but man, you're not allowed to spar for like the first like month, you know. We want to get you ready, man, so you know how to protect yourself instead of just letting you come in and just throw you to the wolves, man.
Right.
So most people are pretty good about it, but like, you know, more so just like I'm sure everybody runs into it. If you're out at the bars or something, or out and about, and somebody really thinks they're a tough guy and they know who you are, trying to get some likes on Facebook or something, whatever.
Jesus.
They're like, dude, come on, man. Like,
I've seen so many fighters like after fights, like at a diner or something in their town, and just some crazy drunk asshole comes in. Matt Serra was one of the guys that I saw actually.
That was awesome.
Yeah, he just wrestled him down and was just having a blast, just sitting on top of him.
He's just like looking up at everybody, laughing. Down, you got to settle down. Yeah. And I'm sure that guy asked for it because Matt Serra doesn't seem like a bully, you know?
No, he just seems like he's such a happy-go-lucky guy. He's one of my favorite guys to watch corner other people because he brings such a level of intensity.
He loves what he does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. I would love to say he's got a school up in New York. I would love to go see like what that school's about. There's a lot of places in New Jersey that have that have some really high-level training here that I want to check out.
Dude, I don't know too many. Who's from New Jersey? Is that Edgar from New Jersey?
Yeah, Frankie. So I think Mark Henry is in Asbury Park over here. I know Matt Serra's in New York. There is a place Mickey Gall trains. There's a place Mickey Gall trains out of here. I think it's South Jersey Jiu-Jitsu down here. There's quite a few places down here that you wouldn't expect, but there are a lot of Tim Witherspoon. I don't know if you know the boxer Tim Witherspoon Sr. His son has got a boxing gym that's got Muay Thai there too over here. So there's like, and actually one of my boxing coaches, Coach Anthony, he holds mitts for people. Brian Callen shouted him out on Joe Rogan's podcast recently. So, you know, if you look hard enough, there are people here. There's people from the Contender series that have their own gyms in this area too. There's women from Deanna Bennett from Invicta trains out of this place called Killer Bees in Oakland, New Jersey. So there's quite a few places here to check out if you're ever in the area.
You know, I've never been super out east. I mean, I've been out to like New York, been out to Florida, but like kind of like that. Georgia, South Carolina, like all that East Coast. I've never really traveled there too much, you know.
I mean, like, I don't know. You're not missing anything but fucking high taxes and like pork roll. That's all we have. And Wawa. Okay, no, come for the Wawa if you don't have Wawas in Colorado.
What is that? A gas station or something?
It's like a super gas station. Like you can get like at 2:00 in the morning a fucking freshly made 12-inch hoagie that like just paid my people.
I did go out to Florida about 2 weeks ago, and I did see one. I never went inside, but that is the greatest gas station you will ever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's legit. It's legit. They started off in you know. I'm sorry, when we start talking about South Jersey shit, this is my area. You have fighting, you have 9-0. I have Wawa gas station food. But yeah, so they started off small and they're like, we're not going to franchise. It's just too much work and we don't want to do it. And then like so many people from all over New Jersey, New York, and Philadelphia just start coming to South Jersey. Like, all right, fuck it, we'll have other ones. And then they just start out. Now it's there's Wawas all over the East Coast now. It's great.
That's cool.
That's the American dream right there. You start off as a small business making sandwiches, and now you're making sandwiches in 6 different states. You know,
taking over, bro.
Yeah.
Take it. I think that's everything you said.
If you had a business, I guess your business would be like either fighting related, right? Like having a gym. Would you ever have a gym?
You know, I thought about it. You know, it's I don't know. It's interesting, man. I've coached wrestling for a long time.
Right.
As a wrestler. I've run the MMA classes before, and maybe when I'm done, maybe I'd like to give my skills back. But maybe I don't know. It's interesting. I started looking at things like that. I just want to make sure my future's taken care of.
Right.
Have kids.
It seems like it would be a very easy port for you, considering your expertise, your background, and all that stuff. So it's the world is your oyster, Justin. but I hope you I wish I want to see you fight more. Like, obviously, you know what I mean. Like, I want to see you fight more. You want to see yourself fight more. So it's like I don't even want to put that in your mind.
Yeah, I mean it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
I think I'm following here, or even if I moved.
Yeah.
And, I've done some cool things. I think I've earned a lot of people's respect. And
yeah,
I think
so too.
They'd want to pick apart my brain like I do some of these higher level guys. Or some. So I think it would be. It's not out of the question. Who knows? Maybe whenever I'm done fighting and I don't have to focus on me as much anymore. It's a very greedy game. I have to be very smart with my time and what I do. So obviously, right now I don't have the time to fully commit to that.
If as Snoop Dogg once said, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, Justin. I understand.
But yeah, dude, I'd like to open a gym maybe at some point. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. One step at a time. Let's get this fight out of the way. Also, one other question. When I was looking at your record, I saw one of your amateur fights was under the World Series of Fighting. They do amateur fights?
They did. They did for this card. It was
on a Justin Gaethje card.
Yes. Me and Justin are good friends, man. We wrestled together at University of Northern Colorado.
That's amazing.
So, man, he still helps me out quite a bit, man. He's like, he puts me under his wing and beats me up, and sometimes anyways,
I saw some video of him walking around Rose Namajunas' cage when she's getting ready to fight Jessica Andrade, saying this is going to hurt because they're going to spar.
Oh, really?
Sparring Rose is crazy. Rose is crazy as hell.
Rose is the nicest lady you will ever. And it was crazy, not to get off subject, but like a bunch of speculations coming up with like, man, like, so granted with that slam on the head, like I think you have to have a submission, which she did.
Yeah.
And then like the other camera angle picked up her tapping, so that was pretty,
Yeah.
It's a
interesting fight.
It was a fun fight to watch for sure.
Yeah, it's like, Rose was picking her apart, but it's like if Jessica was going to win anyway, like that was the way she was going to do it. So
either going to have to catch that one bit.
It shakes it up a little bit because everyone was pretty much if they were betting money. And by the way, if you've been betting on underdogs this whole time, you're a multimillionaire. I should have been betting underdogs on the UFC this whole time.
It's dude, and that's the crazy. I think that's why everybody loves it, man. Is that you never know, man. Somebody could be top of the world, and something like that happens.
Yeah,
you mess up one mistake can cost you everything.
You have such a small window to make mistakes in this fight, in any fight, I guess. It's crazy as shit. So the World Series of Fighting, for people who don't know, the World Series of Fighting is now the PFL, right?
Yes, now it's the Professional Fighters League. They took a different approach. I don't know too much about it, but from what I do know, it seems like they're trying to make like more of a fighter-friendly approach, where they're like supporting the fighters, giving them a better financial background and support system is kind of the thought. The tournaments and stuff, which is awesome. I think it's cool, man, because it's like $1 million that's a lot of money, man. That could change somebody's life.
It's a cool million.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made in the routes, which I take. So anyway, sorry not to get off topic. We started talking, man, and things started coming out.
It's fun. I like doing this shit.
So I fought on the undercard. It was Gaethje and Foster.
Yes.
It was UNC. So at the time, I was still going there, or maybe no, I think I graduated at this point, whatever. And so So it just made sense. Like for both promoters, it was like a World Series of Fighting / SCL.
Right.
Being in my hometown, I sold the shit out of tickets, and the tough opponent who I can't remember who his name was, but I was like the very last amateur fight,
mm-hmm.
and ended up TKOing the guy in the first, I believe, and it was cool because for me, like, you know, my goal was going pro at that time,
right?
It's like beat Ray Cepho, and I can't remember who the other big name is, but it was like, man, you gotta get your foot in the door, start letting these guys see you, and hopefully they'll remember, you know. So like selling tickets, bringing a lot of fans, knocking this guy out, stuff like that. I think it was cool, you know. I try not to put a lot of people on a higher pedestal, you know, because this is where I want to be,
right?
But whenever I met Stitch, that was pretty fucking cool, you know. My family was out there in the parking lot tailgating at like noon. I think the fight. So like they were all telling me like, yeah, dude, Stitch came by, had some burritos, had some beers with us, whatever. Awesome. I couldn't tell you, but I was like, dude, that's awesome. He's like, I've never seen somebody tailgate for an MMA fight before. So I was like, hell. So it definitely made an impact there. It was fun. It was like, start that movement of people starting to tailgate at MMA fights, you know. Man, hopefully I get some fans out to the Contender series.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, from what I hear, like, I don't know, I've seen like mixed reviews as far as like the people there. Like, it doesn't look like when I was talking to Austin Tweedy, and Austin Tweedy was like, he's like, one of the things that kind of freaked me out about fighting in the Contender is like it was like really quiet. Like, it was like really quiet in there.
That is going to be a little different because it's kind of like, I think that's why they try to do it, is maybe just less distractions. They can really see what they want to see.
Yeah.
Make a different atmosphere and seeing how people mix it up.
Right.
You know? It doesn't matter to me, man. I get tickets, so I got my important people there.
Yeah.
That's all I need, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's man, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. It's gonna be. I'm gonna be eyes peeled, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch you fight.
Yeah, I'm hoping they release some more info because it was interesting. Like through the process, I heard a lot of different things about like they were at the new event center. I heard it's supposed to be really big, so I think eventually they want to host events there. But for this, they're trying to keep it pretty small, I guess. Which that's fine with me. I don't care.
Just hey man, get that resume builder. You know, get the next one in there.
So I'm fine with that, you know. And I've got to talk with a lot of people about it. Some other people who I know from Colorado, were on it, so they kind of gave me their insight,
right?
What they thought and just things to be ready for. And, yeah.
So have you when you were doing the World Series? So for people who don't know even further, the World Series of Fighting is like pretty high caliber fighter. Like we said before, Justin Gaethje. That's a place Justin Gaethje came from. David Branch, one of the ranked middleweights, came from over there. For most of his career has been with the World Series of Fighting. You know, and now you. That's a big fucking deal to be on that platform with that caliber, with those caliber of fighters. Like, you're doing everything at every level that you're supposed to get your name and your brand out there, and it's really coming together. It's really coming together.
Like I said earlier, man, like having options is always good,
it's always
man.
Good.
You set on one thing, and that's all you can do. You know, like I said earlier, man, just like that. It's gone.
It's gonna be over.
Like, you know, I want to meet as many people as I can. I want to have a lot of options. I want to open up all my doors and be able to explore and be able to say that I did it right, man. And I did it my way, you know. Yeah. My lifestyle. It's keep it fun, and we'll see what happens.
I love how you're such a calm energy guy. It's so strange to see all of these fighters that I talk to, like, just be the chillest. Like, not all, you know, everyone, there's going to be more fighters going to be more intense than the others, you know, like, you know, guys like Colby Covington, super intense, you know, like, you know, he says some wild shit every now and then, you know, Connor's, you know, super intense, but then, like, he gets, like, some real mellow, like, you know, people you wouldn't place to be like, you know, mixed martial arts fighters because they don't fit that mold that people want you. They want you to be in.
They almost want you to kind of be the bad guy, sort of. Yeah. But it's interesting, man. I met a lot of people who are super high intensity, like just the way they live their life. It's something's going on, you know, drama, this, that.
Yeah.
They can't live their life without it. You know, have to be hyped up about something. And I met some people who are even more relaxed than I am.
I don't know how that's humanly possible.
Very weird, but you get the mix, and I think I'm kind of like the median where people kind of connect through me. And that's how.
Have you always been this way? Like even as a kid, just real calm.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I try to. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I've made my fair share of mistakes where I just wasn't thinking, getting hot headed.
Yeah.
And I get mad, dude. I lose my temper sometimes.
I would imagine.
It's just like anybody, just like the next guy. I'm sure you.
I'm from New Jersey. All I do is speak anger. That's I'm only angry all the time.
I think I've just learned, man. I've been on both ends where I've lost my cool and I messed up, and I've lost my cool and it kind of got things done, you know?
Yeah.
But I just got to be smart about it, man. I think just using all my experiences and I think the best way for me is just to analyze and think things through before I make a decision.
So for a long time I wouldn't do that. So now I'm like doing that as an adult, but for a long time I wouldn't do that. I would do the most rash, the most extreme version of like whatever the reaction should be, and then like assess later, like maybe I shouldn't have done that. So now I'm like stopping myself from doing those things before it gets to a point.
It's funny. We always make this joke. I make this joke with my dad, and he always would teach me. He's like, do the right thing, live a good life, yada yada, typical dad stuff. Wouldn't it be so much like more fun to just do it as you want, and then kind of like if you fuck up, just like, oh man, sorry. I think it would be a little bit make for a more interesting life, anyways. You know?
Yeah, I mean, definitely interesting, but like the one thing is like where it was definitely the most gratifying of things to like be the most direct or blunt or whatever the case may be, and not working with like finesse or like using some sort of like political structure to like you know, like or like negotiation structure to like work with somebody, where it's like you kind of burn bridges with people that you don't need to. So
yeah.
So it's like you're leaving like a negative impact in a place where like that can bite you in the ass one day. I don't know how. I can't tell you how right now, but like one day that can like end up being some shit on my plate that I'm not going to deal with. And
man, like there's a lot of enemies out there. There's a lot of people who just hate you for doing good, you know? I don't need any more enemies, but if you're gonna hate me,
stay off social media, Justin, because there are a ton of haters out there.
Whenever I first saw that they released the Contender, and it was me, this guy, a bunch of people, like, you know, I got on there and read through, and they're like, is this supposed to be a big fight? Who the fuck are these losers? This and that.
And it's always it's never like successful people. It's like fucking bottom of the rung, like private account, 200 follower people who like have, you know, their armchair quarterbacks on Monday night. Like, you know, they'll be able to tell you about your technique, but they've never fought a day in their life. Like crazy shit, man.
It is what it is. I take it with a grain of salt and kind of laugh. Like, hey, I'm happy with my life. I'm doing big things, so like, you guys can suck it, you know.
You're living your dream. Like how could you, like, if something negative comes in your head, right, and it's not like the funniest. Like, you can be negative if it's funny. Like, if it's funny, but if it's not funny, it's like you're just kind of being an asshole to somebody you'll never meet in your entire. Well, why? Like, why?
Buddy, you know.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. It's I keep up with the USA Wrestling pretty much, and there's a big topic right now. David Taylor, returning world gold medalist, he's out due to injury. Uh-huh. So the next in line, they were supposed to wrestle. His name's Pat Downey. Uh-huh. Big subject right now in the wrestling world. And there's a lot of people hating on him, but I'm like, dude, how can you have? Sure, he's made mistakes in his past, but a lot of people are hating on him, and I'm like, dude, this guy just won the U.S. Open. He just won the World Team Trials, and you guys aren't even giving the guy a chance. You know, he hasn't even wrestled a single world, like, an international match at the World Championships yet. Like, give the guy some credit here. You know,
Yeah, it's such a weird human, and it's like the law of averages, right? It just seems like the average person, and I don't know why, does not want to see, well, I can't say the average person because I don't know, but I just feel like on social media, I'll say the average person on social media is either one of two things, you know, way to go, champ, keep going, or it's like I want you to fail forever, and I don't want you to be able to feed your family. And it's like, what is wrong? Like, why is it your inclination? Like, why are you like this? Who hurt you?
Really harsh, you know.
Yeah.
Like, geez, it's kind of just the world we live in, you know.
Yeah,
there's
man.
good people, there's bad people, there's haters.
Do you have kids? I'm sorry. I don't. You don't have kids?
No, I'm like I said, man. I think things through, and I am not ready for that.
That's code for he pulls out, America. He pulls out every time.
Wrong, bro. Nah. On a serious note, it's like both my brothers had kids really early in their lives.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw the struggles they went through.
Oh, it's hard.
It was just, man, trying to provide. It's hard enough trying to take care of yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And more or less trying to take care of a baby who can't do much for themselves, you know.
And for a lot of people, that's like enough for them to have to stop what they have to. They have to stop their career, like in a lot of cases, and especially in sports.
It's something that, like, if I had a kid right now, man, it would. I'd either have to
give up sleep.
Yeah. Everything else.
Yeah.
What needs to be done for them.
Yeah.
And it would put fighting on the line for sure, because I'd have to provide.
Right.
What happens in these next couple months, you know.
Right.
But I got a good life, man. I get to chill with my nieces. It was her birthday the other day, so I took them shopping.
You seem like you have a pretty big family.
Oh man, my family is huge. It's funny whenever we all get together. It's things turn a little interesting, and every year there's another one. And I'm like, who the heck's this little guy? When did this one come around?
Yeah.
My niece has got to come over today. They've seen the house, but now that I just finished the basement,
Yeah.
They actually got to see it and got it all set up, and they love it. So I'm the cool uncle. I give them candy. My nieces and my nephews give them candy.
I'm sure their parents love that shit. Ramp them up and then send them out of your house.
Be like, that son of a bitch, I knew it. But the cool uncle, man, my little nephew Maddox, we call him Mad Dog. He calls me Uncle Choo Choo. That's cool. You know, we're teaching him how to fight. My niece, for some reason, found some gloves at my house and started hitting me, and she knows, dude. She knows a little bit about like a 1-2, you know.
Oh,
and,
shit.
like, who's teaching you this stuff?
It's in the blood. There's memories in the DNA.
And for her being a girly girl, that's not like her, so it was cool, you know.
Yeah.
They grab my belts and stuff, and it's cool, man. It's cool that they're starting to understand the whole fight game.
Yeah.
They haven't been yet, but
Yeah.
teaching them that, like, hey, man, fighting can be a good thing if you use it the way, like, you know.
I feel like you know, I feel like there's something that I missed. I mean, like, I did like Taekwondo and karate when I was like a kid, but it wasn't like very extensive, and I kind of stopped after a certain time. But I feel like exposing a kid to that helps them in ways that like people can't really quantify, especially with their self-esteem, and like self-defense is really important. I just feel like being able to stop situations before they, you know, get into a dangerous spot or whatever the case may be is like it's useful. It's useful because people are crazy as shit out there.
Man, it's like, it's a crazy world we live in, man. There's a lot of just bad people who just want to cause trouble, you know. And I think everybody should know how to defend themselves, at least a little, you know. But knowing when it's time to do that, and maybe if you could resolve it differently and stuff, it's trying to instill those in people. Just even adults, man. I try to tell people at the gym there's some people who are some hotheads.
Dude, I was driving home from work. I work like maybe about 45 minutes away from where I live, and I'm driving on my way, and this guy like speeds up to make sure I can't merge into this lane. I don't know why. Like there was plenty of space for him to not do that, and he did it anyway. So I just cut him off. I was like, "Fuck him! I'm not. I got to make it work." So I cut him off, and he's riding my ass for like a mile stretch, riding my ass. Never seen him in my entire life. And then we come to a light. He passes by. I probably shouldn't have. And this is what I was talking about, right? So like, I make fucking poor decisions sometimes, and I flip him off. He speeds past me. I don't even see him anymore. I turn off. I'm driving out of my job, and I'm in my parking lot looking at my phone. I get out of my car. This guy's pulled up behind me. He followed me to my job. I didn't see him. I just plainly didn't see him. Followed me to my job, and I didn't recognize him at first because I was like, I never seen him before. Because I literally forgot about his existence. Like before he followed me to my job. So he's screaming, "Motherfucker!" He's like, "I'll fucking kill you!" Bald, and of course he's the douchiest looking piece of shit of all time. Bald head, goatee, jean shorts, tribal tattoos, fucking worst fucking 40-year-old dad who probably watches the UFC. And he's screaming at me and he's all getting all red-faced, and he won't leave his car, so I'm getting a little nervous because I'm like, all right, does he have something in there or some shit?
What this guy got here?
Yeah. He's screaming at me like he wants to fight, and he's like, "You want trouble? You want trouble?" And he won't leave the door, so I'm just standing there like, I don't want to turn my back to him because I don't know what he's gonna do, but I don't want to egg him on into like being violent. So then he screams at me for 5 minutes, and then he starts feeling stupid because I'm not saying anything, and he gets in his car and he leaves. So I just got just like that.
Hey man, sometimes people just need to let it out, man. You might have,
just crazy. Somebody's just angry, crazy dad with fucking tribal tattoos on his legs, and there's like a state police station like not even 30 seconds from where we are. It was so, like he just wasn't making any good decisions that morning. It's 8:30 in the morning. I'm late to work. He's late to work. Like, why? Why did we do this?
Either you did that guy a favor, or that guy's kids are in for some serious problems.
Oh shit!
You might have made it worse for them.
Yeah. Beat his fucking kids and he got home.
That's funny. Dude, people are crazy these days.
Crazy as shit, man. Crazy as shit.
You never know, man. I think people can carry guns in their cars, so like you got to be careful what you're doing, man.
Yeah, in New Jersey, you're not. It's really difficult to get a gun. Like as far as like you're number one. You're not allowed to drive with it at all loaded. So, but like. You never know. Like, I wasn't willing to, even if it wasn't a gun, like, if it was a knife, like, I'm not trying to get in a knife fight at 8:30 in the morning. Like, I'm outside my office, you know what I mean? Like...
Some people, man, just...
It's ready to go.
Like I said, man, some people just need that, like, high-intensity drama, something just gets them going, you know?
Yeah.
Need it. Me, not so much the fact, but... Who am I to judge, you know? Yeah.
Well, that's basically everything I had. God damn, it was an hour and 30 minutes. That flew by.
Dude, that was fun, man. It was fun just to talk and chat, man.
Yeah. Dude, literally any time you want to come back, even if you just want to talk separately, you're more than welcome. You're an awesome dude.
I'm gonna do that, man. I'm just gonna bug you now. Call you all.
Go ahead.
What about this going on? You know? Dude, thank you. I appreciate it, brother.
Is there anything that you want to plug as far as like businesses, anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, shoot, man. I mean, hey guys, this is Justin Gonzales, aka the J Train. I'm fighting June 25th on the Contender series. Check it out. I think it's on ESPN Plus. If you guys want to see a little bit more about my life, man, you can add me on Facebook, Justin J Train Gonzales, my Twitter. JTrain_1991, my Instagram, JTrain_1991. Don't be afraid, shoot me a message, man. You guys got questions, you guys just want to talk, I'm pretty easygoing. If I'm busy, I won't get to it right away, but, usually I'm doing something. But for now, I got some graduations to go to, I got some little stuff to finish up on the house. So I thank you guys. Choo-choo.
I love it. Justin, I could not be more grateful. Thank you for finding time in your busy-ass schedule to sit down with the small potatoes of the Catchweight Update podcast. You know, it makes it so much easier when you have someone who's willing to come on, and everybody that I've had, you know, through first round or who I reach out to with, you know, I'm so grateful to have everybody on my show. But, you know, you've added another dimension to my content, and I could not be more grateful. You're more than welcome to use my platform for whatever you need to use it for.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the love. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, brother. Peace, love, and gap.